practice makes perfect. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it.
So if I'm brand new, because I remember doing this, and remember the guy back then, we hadn't met you yet, and the guy telling us what to do, I'm like, oh man, this sounds like a lot of work, and it ends up being not a big deal. Someone's brand new. Where do they start? How do they start? Besides saying, Josh, help me and hiring you, but what precedes that?
Yeah, honestly, like I would tell people, like, don't even come to me if you haven't started yet. Like when we started working with you guys and Smart Real Estate Coach, you guys are phenomenal clients of ours. You guys have been doing this for a long time. So you understand the principles, you understand what it takes to put content out, that sort of thing. So if you are listening and you've not even started, first of all, I shouldn't have to preach to you on why you should be starting on video content anyways. You should by now know the value of it, that it is worth doing. But Chris, I like to start with some basic, like, why to do it before I start with the how to do it. And the reason, and you know this, but the reason you do that is just because, like, people aren't going to get motivated to do something unless they know why they're doing it in the first place.
100%.
But the thing that you got to understand mindset wise is, once again, like I talk about framing it as a resource, but for you to invest your time into it, you got to understand a few things. Number one is it takes consistency to get any kind of results, and consistency for a long period of time. Generally speaking, anybody that's doing organic content, organic video, organic social, whatever it is, I tell them that if you haven't consistently done it for like 8 to 12 months, then you have no room to complain about any type of results that you're getting. You've got to remember, you're not the only one that's putting social media content out there. You're not the only one that's putting video content out there for generating leads. So you have competition, right? You have competition in your market, so you've got to stay consistent. And there's a lot of statistics out there about, like, preaching statistics and with consistency and that sort of thing. But, like, it is the truth. Everybody wants a secret sauce, Chris, but, like, that is the sauce. It's like, stay consistent, do the fundamentals correctly, whether you're putting out one video a week, one video a day, one video a month, doesn't matter. Like, whatever consistency you're able to put out there, stay consistent with that frequency. So that's, like, the why is, obviously I gave you the example of, like, hey, this is a 24-hour salesman that's parked onto your YouTube channel or your website as a resource for people to consume when they're motivated. Even if it's at 2:00 in the morning and nobody's in the office taking calls, they are going to watch your video about, they just inherited a house and they have no idea what to do with it. It's keeping them up at night. So they watch your video, you give them the answer. Who's the first person they're calling in the morning? It's going to be you, because you already delivered value. That's a nutshell of the value of that. So where you start is, and again, like, Chris, you've worked with me long enough, you know that I like to keep things extremely simple. So in the world of social media, guys, like, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise about video content. There's a lot of noise about organic web traffic and that sort of thing. And you really need to boil it down to a couple of, like, just step 1, 2, and 3s. Number one is the video topics. I actually, funny enough, Chris, just put out an episode on my podcast, the REI Marketing Weekly, specifically telling people how to get unlimited video topics as a real estate investor. So go check that out, because I go super deep into that for 20 minutes, but I'll give you the skim of it. Is number one is you just literally, if you're taking calls from your leads, if you have an acquisitions person taking calls, a lead manager, whoever it is, every single time a lead asks a question, have them write that question down. That's a video topic that you're going to record a video on and put that out, because that's hard factual data of what people are asking for. And the principle of content marketing, just something kind of an offshoot tip here, the principle of, like, the pure definition of content marketing is answering questions that your target demographic has about who you are, what you do, and your industry. And that's literally what it is. It's just answering questions that they would have. That's where you start. And one last thing, and I'll kick it back to you, Chris. One of the first rebuttals I ever get, and I've just kind of, like, crafted my answer to this to be just super blunt, but people will say, well, Josh, I'm not good on camera. I get a little nervous. Like, I'm not sure. So then I just kindly pat them on the shoulder and say, suck it up, Cupcake. Because, like, in business, there's things that we hate doing, we don't want to do, but we have to, because we know that it's going to move the needle. And that might be one of those things. So practice makes perfect. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Like, guys, I'm going to embarrass Chris here, but go back to the very first episode of the Smart Real Estate Coach. I guarantee you Chris sucked at it.
Awful.
But he's gotten excellent at it. He's become an expert at being a podcast host. And that is the way it goes for everybody. Pick your biggest influencer out there. They started the same way. So not that you're becoming an influencer, you're leveraging this as marketing, but that's the way you kind of shake it out and just get started.